5 things that secretly drain your joy after 60, and how to let them go. Clear emotional clutter for a brighter outlook. Have you ever had one of those days where everything seems fine on the surface, but deep down you just feel off? Like your joy has been slowly leaking out without you even realizing it? It's not something dramatic. It's more like a quiet, invisible weight, and you can't quite put your finger on what's causing it. If that sounds familiar, you're definitely not alone. After 60, life often brings a mix of peace and challenge. You might be retired or close to it, the kids are grown, and you finally have more time for yourself. But somehow, instead of feeling full of joy and freedom, you might find yourself feeling tired, uninspired, or even a little empty. And the truth is, it's not always about what's happening around you. Sometimes it's about what you're still carrying within you. Old patterns, hidden stress, or quiet disappointments that have built up over time. In this video, we're going to talk about 5 sneaky things that could be draining your joy without you even realizing it. And more importantly, we'll talk about how to gently let them go so you can start feeling lighter, brighter, and more alive. Right now, right where you are. Let's begin with something most of us don't even question. Holding on to old regrets. Maybe it's a decision you made years ago that didn't turn out the way you hoped. Maybe it's something you didn't do, a missed opportunity, a relationship that slipped away, a dream that got left behind. And even though time has passed, that little voice in the back of your mind still whispers, what if? The problem with regret is that it quietly eats away at our present. It keeps us living in the past, replaying moments we can't change instead of creating new ones. And over time, that mental loop drains your energy, your hope, and your sense of possibility. But here's the truth. You did the best you could with what you knew then. You had different tools, different understanding, different support. And now, you know more. You are more. Letting go of regret doesn't mean pretending the past didn't happen. It means choosing to stop punishing yourself for not being perfect. You are not the same person you were 10, 20, or 30 years ago. And thank goodness for that. Every choice brought you here. And this moment, right now, is full of possibility. One way to start releasing regret is by writing a letter to yourself. A kind, forgiving, loving letter. Say what you wish someone had said to you back then. Let yourself be seen and understood by the wiser version of yourself that exists today. Then, if you're ready, you can fold that letter up, tear it up, or even burn it, symbolizing that you're no longer carrying that regret. You're choosing peace instead. Now, another hidden joy stealer that shows up often after 60 is comparison. It sneaks in quietly, especially in today's world where everyone's life is on display. Perfect vacations, happy families, shiny milestones. And suddenly you find yourself looking around and thinking, should I be doing more? Should I have more friends? Should I be happier? But comparison is a thief. It takes your focus off your own journey and distracts you with someone else's highlight reel. And here's the part we often forget. Nobody shows the whole picture. Behind every smiling photo, there's a story. Some joy, yes, but also struggle, pain, and doubt. Just like you. Your life doesn't need to look like anyone else's to be beautiful. You don't have to travel the world or host dinner parties every weekend to be content. Maybe your joy lives in your garden, or your quiet walks, or the book you've been reading by the window. Maybe it's in the way you care for your body, or the way you laugh with your grandchildren, or how you light a candle at night and breathe deeply. That matters. That counts. That is enough. So the next time that comparison creeps in, gently remind yourself, your life isn't meant to be a copy. It's meant to be your own work of art. And every brushstroke, even the messy ones, are part of the masterpiece. Let's also talk about unspoken resentment, something many people carry without even realizing it. It can come from years of putting others first, of doing what was expected, or of feeling overlooked or unappreciated. And because we're often taught to just get on with it, we bury those feelings. But buried feelings don't disappear. They just fester. You might notice it in little ways, getting irritated easily, feeling drained after certain conversations, or holding on to old stories that still make you feel small. Resentment builds silently, but weighs heavily, and it robs us of joy. Letting go of resentment doesn't mean pretending nothing happened. It means deciding you no longer want to be defined by someone else's choices. It means you're choosing to reclaim your energy instead of giving it away through anger or blame. One helpful step is simply acknowledging what hurt you, without judgment. You might say to yourself, yes, that happened. Yes, it hurt. And yes, I'm ready to heal. You don't need the other person to apologize in order to free yourself. Your peace belongs to you. And if you're open to it, consider practicing forgiveness, not for their sake, but for yours. Forgiveness isn't approval. It's release. It's deciding that you'd rather carry freedom than pain. We've already uncovered a few of these invisible weights: regret, comparison, and resentment. And just beginning to notice them, to bring them out of the shadows, is a powerful step. Because once we see them, we can choose something different. You are allowed to feel joy. You are allowed to set those weights down. Even now, especially now, you deserve a life that feels light, peaceful, and true to you. Now that we've started opening the door to those quiet, hidden feelings, regret, comparison, resentment, you might already feel something shifting. Just naming what weighs us down can be powerful. But there are still a few more invisible threads that tug at our joy, especially after 60, and we're going to gently explore them now. One of the most overlooked is guilt. It's one of those feelings that sneaks in without permission and overstays its welcome. And it doesn't always come from doing something wrong. It often comes from caring too much for too long. You might feel guilty for not visiting someone as often as you used to, for setting boundaries with your adult children, or for simply wanting time to yourself. Some feel guilt for retiring when others are still working, or for feeling happiness when someone else in the family is struggling. It's a quiet emotion, but it builds up layer after layer until it starts to dim the brightness of your days. But here's something to remember. Guilt isn't always a sign that you've done something wrong. Sometimes it's just a sign that you're learning how to put yourself first, for maybe the first time in your life. If you've spent decades showing up for others, it might feel strange to finally choose your own needs. But that isn't selfish. It's necessary. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can love your family and still protect your peace. You can care deeply and still take a step back. That's not neglect, it's balance. Letting go of guilt often begins with giving yourself permission. Permission to rest. Permission to change. Permission to grow in a different direction. You're not the same person you were at 30 or 40, and that's a good thing. With every new chapter comes a new rhythm. And the only one who needs to approve of it is you. Try asking yourself, am I holding on to guilt that doesn't belong to me anymore? And then ask, what would it feel like to let it go? Sometimes, just sitting with those questions can invite clarity. And over time, the grip of guilt can loosen, making space for peace to return. Another silent drain on our joy is something we rarely speak about directly: the fear of becoming irrelevant. It's a quiet fear, but it lingers. Maybe you've retired from a job where you once felt needed. Maybe your children don't reach out as often. Maybe technology has moved so fast that you feel like you're playing catch-up. And suddenly, it's easy to start asking, do I still matter? And the answer is yes. 1,000 times yes. Your value isn't measured by productivity or popularity. You are not less important because your phone doesn't buzz all day, or because you're not busy every hour. You are not invisible just because others don't always see you. Your presence, your wisdom, your story, all of it still matters. Deeply. Sometimes, feeling relevant again simply means reconnecting with your purpose. And that purpose doesn't have to be grand. It could be planting flowers in your garden that bring joy to a neighbor walking by. It could be smiling at a stranger in the grocery store or calling an old friend just to say hello. It could be learning something new, not to impress anyone, but because your mind still loves to grow. You matter because you exist. You are enough just as you are. You always have been. And if anyone around you has made you feel otherwise, intentionally or not, that's their shortcoming, not yours. Relevance doesn't come from outside recognition. It comes from living a life that feels honest, loving, and true to you. So if you've been shrinking yourself, staying quiet, or dimming your light, I want to gently invite you to stop. Stand tall. Take up space. Speak your truth. The world still needs you, maybe more than ever. And maybe the most important thing to remember in all of this is that letting go is not a one-time event. It's a practice. A choice we make again and again. Some days will feel lighter than others. That's okay. What matters most is the direction you're facing, not how fast you're moving. You've already done some of the hardest work, simply noticing what's been draining your joy. That kind of awareness isn't small. It's brave. It means you're no longer living on autopilot. You're paying attention. You're choosing to live with intention, and that changes everything. You deserve a life that feels light, a heart that feels free, a mind that feels calm. You deserve mornings where you wake up with a sense of ease and evenings where you can breathe deeply and feel content, not because everything is perfect, but because you're no longer holding on to things that don't serve you. The emotional clutter we carry doesn't define us, and it doesn't have to come with us into the next chapter. This chapter can be about release, about clarity, about joy, not the loud kind, but the steady, soul-deep kind that comes from knowing you're finally living for you. So let's keep walking this path together, one small, intentional step at a time. Let's uncover the last piece together next. As we've peeled back the layers of what might be quietly weighing on your spirit, regret, comparison, resentment, guilt, and that lingering fear of fading into the background, there's one more piece we need to talk about. And it might be the most subtle, yet the most powerful of all. It's the pressure to keep everyone else comfortable, even if it means sacrificing your own peace. This shows up in so many quiet ways. You say yes when you really want to say no. You smile when something hurts. You bite your tongue to avoid rocking the boat. You downplay your feelings because someone might say you're being too sensitive. And after years of this, your joy doesn't disappear all at once. It slips away piece by piece. Many of us were raised to be agreeable, to be helpful, to keep the peace no matter what. But peace on the outside isn't real if it costs you peace on the inside. There comes a time in life, and maybe that time is now, when you're allowed to put down the role of peacekeeper and pick up the role of truth-teller. Not the kind that causes harm or demands attention, but the kind that honors your own needs without guilt. You're allowed to say no to things that exhaust you. You're allowed to speak up when something feels off. You're allowed to ask for what you need without apology. And when you do, something beautiful happens. The people who truly love you will begin to meet you where you are. And the people who only liked the version of you that kept quiet, well, they may fall away. And that's okay too. Because at this stage of life, your energy is sacred. Your time is precious. Your joy is not a luxury. It's a lifeline. It's not selfish to protect your peace. It's wise. And it's the beginning of a different kind of freedom. One where you're no longer trying to be everything for everyone. One where you finally make space for yourself. So if this resonates with you, I want you to take a deep breath with me right now. Just a long, slow, gentle breath. And let it be a small declaration. A whisper to yourself that says, I'm done hiding. I'm done holding it all in. I choose peace. I choose truth. I choose joy. Letting go of these 5 joy drainers is not about perfection. It's not about fixing every little thing. It's about recognizing that you don't have to carry old weight into your new season. You're allowed to rewrite your story at any age. And here's the beautiful part. When you do, it shows. In your posture, in your smile, in your voice. People begin to notice something different about you. Not louder, not flashier, just lighter, more grounded, more you. You might find yourself laughing more, sleeping better, feeling freer in your skin. Not because everything in your life has changed, but because you have. You've chosen to stop carrying what's not yours. You've chosen to come home to yourself. And what better time than now? There is no age limit on joy, no expiration date on peace. You don't need permission from anyone else to feel good in your own life. Now, before we end, let's take a moment to gently revisit what we've explored together, not to repeat it all, but to simply feel the heart of it. You've learned that regret doesn't have to follow you. That comparison is a lie. That resentment can be released without needing an apology. That guilt is often misplaced. That your value does not depend on how useful or needed others say you are. And that making space for your own peace isn't selfish, it's sacred. And with that knowing, I hope you feel just a little more grounded, a little more clear, a little more hopeful. If this conversation touched you, I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments. You never know who might read your story and feel less alone. Sometimes the most healing thing we can do is simply say, me too. I felt that way too. And if you haven't already, go ahead and like this video and subscribe to the channel. This space is here for you, a place to feel seen, supported, and uplifted in this powerful season of life. Because you deserve that. You've earned that. Every step, Every struggle, every chapter has brought you to this moment, and this moment holds the power to change everything. So here's to letting go of what no longer serves you. Here's to reclaiming your light. Here's to living with more joy, not someday, but now. Here's to living your best life at any age.